And thank you all for being here tonight. I'm so thrilled to have so many here filling up our chairs and coming to hear this wonderful, wonderful speaker. Juanita and I have, we met several years ago, and as we began to talk and she was telling me about her research and such, we realized we had so many connections in ways we just could not imagine. One being, and Councilmember Meyer did not mention quite what our Civil War site is. We happen to be a Union soldier graffiti site, lots of names on the walls of the house up on the hill. And please, afterwards, you can go into our gallery and see our replica attic, which has many signatures. But we have a connection because there's a connection between one of the soldiers on the walls in the house and Juanita's story. And that was amazing. And then also connection with the anthracite coal region of Pennsylvania with her family and my husband's family. So we just felt like we were meant to be together, and she was meant to speak here, and we're so thrilled to have her here tonight for this full program. Juanita Patience Moss is the daughter of the late Cora and Charles Edgar Patience, and she is a retired high school biology teacher. So she told us she did not need a mic tonight, so we will hold her to that. And she's a product of the West Pittston Public School System. She attended Bennett College, Greensboro, North Carolina, and received a BS degree from Wilkes University, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and an MA degree from Fairleigh Dickinson University in Rutherford, New Jersey. Now, the last time I read that was before this letter came to Juanita from King's College in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And in 2011, she received the Honorary Doctorate of Humanities from the college. And so how wonderful, and I know how proud you are, Dr. J. Since her retirement in 1992 as a biology teacher in Bloomfield, New Jersey, in the high school there, she developed an increased interest in genealogy, resulting in writing several books, the first one being Created to be Free, which was a historical novel based on the life of her great-grandfather, a runaway North Carolina slave. Through living in Alexandria, Virginia, it provided her with the opportunity to go to the Library of Congress and the National Archives in Washington, D.C. And during the past 10 years, she collected the names of nearly 2,000 black soldiers whose participation in the Civil War had been forgotten by historians. And there's quite a story to that because she was told they didn't exist. And so she showed them what a lot of research could do. In addition to her first book, she's written 4 nonfiction books: Battle of Plymouth, North Carolina, April 17th, 20th, 1864, The Last Confederate Victory, Forgotten Black Soldiers and White Regiments During the Civil War, which is what we're here for, and Anthracite Coal Art by Charles Edgar Patience. A book of 150 memoirs from Bennett College has also been put together from the women alumni in Greensboro, North Carolina. We are pleased to have her husband, Edward Moss, here. They've been married for 61 years. Wow, that's great. And they are parents of daughter Brenda Moss Green and son Eric Moss, and one of their grandsons is here tonight, and that is Matt Green. And without further ado, I would like to present you to Dr. Juanita Patience Moss.
Oh, that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. And thanks especially to Andrea for allowing me to share my research with all of you. I am a 4th-generation free woman of color. I am a living bridge between my grandchild, Matthew, and our slave ancestor, my paternal great-grandfather, Juanita Patience. And because of Grandpa's story, I've spent the past 15 years researching a topic entirely new to me, Black soldiers in the Civil War. A topic little discussed prior to 1989 when the movie Glory hit the big screen. Indeed, I had never learned anything about Black Civil War soldiers in any of the American history classes I ever took, either in high school or in college. How about you? Indeed, I have never learned anything about Black history, war soldiers. It was from experience that I knew about them. My knowledge was limited to decorating Grandpa's grave back in Pennsylvania each Memorial Day, after having followed the American Legion's parade to the local cemetery. There, bands played, cannons boomed, muskets volleyed, and taps were sounded. In fact, my interest in the Civil War did not develop until 1998, when I read in the Washington Post about a new monument to be unveiled in the district to honor the Black soldiers and sailors. Needless to say, I was quite excited over thinking that I would see Grandpa's name on the Wall of Honor. However, when I checked for his name in the National Parks database, as the Post had suggested, I was shocked to read the following words, quote, "No known soldier," unquote. What? I exclaimed to myself. I do a lot of talking to myself. Why, I know exactly where Grandpa's grave is, marked by his Union tombstone, a GAR stanchion, and an American flag. I was soon to discover that the names on the wall were only of those who had served in segregated regiments, and only those names are stored in the National Parks database. And when I approached several historians concerning the Black men who had served in white regiments, I was told there had been none. None? I spoke to myself. Well, I personally knew of one. My great-grandfather, who had served in the 103rd Pennsylvania Volunteers, a white regiment. But as a biology teacher, I hypothesized that he was not the only Black soldier to serve in a white regiment. And I was determined to find out if I were correct. And I was, now having collected over 2,500 names. Now, my past presentations have focused solely on the forgotten Black soldiers in white regiments. Tonight, though, I'm going to discuss 7 distinct categories of Civil War Black soldiers. Now let's see which ones you already know and which ones you do not. After the Civil War erupted in 1861, 90-day militias organized to protect Washington, D.C., and enthusiastic Black men hurried to enlist, only to be rejected due to a federal law of 1792 forbidding colored men to bear arms in the Army, even though some had served in both the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. In spite of the law, a number of New Englanders, known as patriots, managed to serve the Union without rank in what could be called a first category of Black Civil War soldiers. Such a patriot was a Norwich, Connecticut resident, William Henry Johnson, born in Alexandria, Virginia. After attempting to join the local regiment when it responded to the first call for state militia troops, he was refused because of his race. He was, however, accepted into the 2nd Connecticut Volunteer Infantry as an independent. After the completed duration of 3 months, he enlisted in the 8th Connecticut Volunteer Infantry, participating on July 21st, 1861, in the First Battle of Bull Run, as it was called by the Union, and Manassas by the Confederacy. Several months later, William Henry Johnson would participate in the Burnside expedition that captured Roanoke Island, North Carolina. In his autobiography, he wrote that other New England Black patriots or independents were on Roanoke Island too, Not known is the number of patriots who served the Union before blacks officially were allowed to become bona fide soldiers. A second category exists